Insights from Michael Pollan's In Defense of Food, brought to you by InstaRead. Although it may seem counterintuitive, nutritionists and scientists are not the sources from whom you should be obtaining advice on what to eat. They mostly profit off your confusion and merely complicate the question. You already know what to eat. Humans have done it without a coach for the majority of history. Michael Pollan calls for a return to ancestral roots regarding what and how we eat. He advocates for the consumption of real food rather than processed nutrients, and provides simple and intuitive steps for doing so. Insight number 1. In the 1980s, food began being referred to in terms of nutrients, an ideology of nutritionism, so as to avoid offending any businesses. If people were told to avoid saturated fats, the meat industry was not directly mentioned. Nutritionism opened a gateway to greater confusion, as it is difficult to pinpoint which nutrient is harmful or helpful within foods. Number 2. The fact that food mattered simply for its nutritional value discouraged people from eating for pleasure. Not only were foods reduced to the combination of the nutrients they contain, these nutrients were also divided into beneficial, protein, and unhealthy carbohydrates categories. This ideology ignores that the sum may be greater than its parts. Number 3. Whole foods and processed foods became one and the same under the lens of nutritionism. For if the two contained the same amount of recognized nutrients, they did not differ. In reality, this is not the case, but it benefited the food industry. Processed products that were imitations of whole foods with similar nutritional content started spreading due to the convenience of nutritionism. People started eating more fake foods they did not know were fake, thinking they were superior alternatives, as was the case with margarine, a butter substitute, or plant-based meat, a meat substitute. Even animals were starting to be tampered with in order to become better nutritional combinations. Thin pigs were being bred in order to reduce saturated fats in meats. The experts who have been telling us for decades to eat margarine instead of butter were wrong, and now we know that margarine is worse for us. Number 4. Current scientific tools make it difficult to study foods as an intricate system of intermingling nutrients. Scientists have to isolate a single nutrient from its web and study it in controlled settings, which is highly flawed because nutrients interact. Combinations of nutrients work together. Antioxidants need another nutrient in order to be absorbed. In fact, in certain cases, if a nutrient that is deemed to decrease the risk of cancer is isolated from a pair that facilitates this outcome, it might do the opposite, increasing the risk. Number 5. The Mediterranean diet is the healthiest diet, but it's hard to know whether that's because it's actually better for us or because of confounding factors. Number 6. Participants in an experiment refused to choose hot dogs as the food that would help them survive on a desert island, selecting instead items such as bananas, even though hot dogs are more diverse in terms of nutrients and would give them a higher chance of survival. People do not really understand how calories work. They believe eating a lot of lower calorie food is better than eating small portions of food high in calories. Number 7. A group of Aborigines who were living on the Western diet and had developed type 2 diabetes and signs of insulin resistance moved back to their homeland, attempting to return to their ancestral way of eating. Soon enough, their health complications were resolved. The group ate mostly kangaroo, fish, and bush tucker, wild plants, for 9 weeks, during which time all of them lost weight and their blood glucose levels returned to normal. They showed no signs of insulin resistance. Number 8. The Western diet is based on processed foods that are packed with energy and lacking in nutrients, and the solution is not to modify it, but to change it altogether. The negative effects of the Western diet are not long-term and definite. They can be reversed. Number 9. The single most important characteristic of healthy food is that it must be derived from fresh origins and soil dense with nutrients itself. Refining food gives us less nutrients and more energy. When we eat fruits, the sugar is accompanied by fiber, vitamins and minerals. When we eat refined sugars, we are just eating pure glucose with no nutrients. Number 10. The current way of growing crops is directed towards increasing and speeding up production. The fertilizers that are used only make plants grow faster, not allowing them to grow on their own pace and form the amount of nutrients needed. Organically grown crops have more antioxidants than those grown with pesticides and fertilizers, as these plants attempt to protect themselves against diseases and aggressors. This was sacrificed for greater and quicker yield, producing a culture that is undernourished yet overfed. Number 11. The best way to solve the issue of the Western diet is to steer away from it and back to the way our ancestors used to eat. However, we don't have to live in the wilderness. We can still enjoy modern life. The way to enjoy the comforts of modern life, yet still consume real food, is to avoid all processed products. We must completely avoid anything that our great-grandmothers would not recognize. In fact, to refine this idea even further, we must not consume anything with an ingredients list of more than 5 elements, nor those that are unfamiliar. Sometimes the looks fool us, but the ingredients tell the full story. Number 12. If there's one thing that scientists and nutritionists agree upon, it is that we must eat more plants. Vegetables are always good for you, so just eat more of them. They seem to reduce, along with fruits, the risk of cancer. Eat less snacks and enjoy full meals, preferably on a table. Meals keep you full for longer, and eating on a table gives you the chance to appreciate the food. It is important to eat slowly, as it takes time for the brain to register fullness. Eating in groups helps those who do not eat enough to consume more, and those who eat more than they need to reduce their intake. Make eating a social activity and have a glass of wine with dinner, as it is beneficial. We hope you enjoyed the insights from Michael Pollan's In Defense of Food. Hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe to our channel. Visit instaread.co to get more insights from this and thousands of other books. Use the code YouTube to get a discount on your subscription.